Alright, hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gabriel, coming at you straight from Queens, New York. And today we are going to talk about the mail-in voting. And I'm going to talk specifically about why I think the Democrats or people on the left should be against mail-in voting. And the main reason that I think Democrats should be against mail-in voting is because who does mail-in voting serve, right? Like why? Yeah, like, people gotta think. What was the purpose of mail-in voting? Well, the purpose of mail-in voting was to help people who have a really hard time getting to the actual polls to vote in person, right? We're looking at people that are sick, people that are old, people that are, across, out of the nation, maybe there's a war going on or whatnot. And so you got to look at that demographic, right? That demographic of people who are more likely to do mail-in voting, right? Even right now, as the whole COVID thing is taking off, who are the ones that are at risk of COVID, right? It's the elderly mostly, right? So these are the people that are going to be more likely to want mail-in voting. Okay, so then we've established that mail-in voting is something that is going to be primarily used by the elderly and by the military, right? Pretty much. So then, who do these, who do those demographics tend to vote for? They tend to vote Republican, right? Like Democrat voters and Republican voters, you can split them up by age group almost exactly, right? The younger voters tend to vote Democrats, the older voters tend to vote Republican. So if you have a system that is more inclined to serve the Republican vote demographic, why are you pushing for it? It's it makes no sense. It's like you're trying to throw it. You're trying to, and this goes back to the whole idea that this election year by the Democrats, they're just throwing it away. They're just they're just literally doing whatever they don't care. They, even if it's a bad tactic and it'll help Trump win, they're gonna do it regardless, right? Because all they're trying to do is they're trying to hedge their bets for the next cycle, for 2024. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it makes no sense that the Democrats would want mail-in voter, given the fact that mail-in voting is something that, according to demographics, would be way more popular amongst Republican voters, right? But then again, there's another theory out there that, right, there's the whole mail-in voting fraud. So maybe they know that the majority of people that are going to be more inclined to be okay with mail-in voting are Republicans. And because of that, and because they know that mail-in voting is completely fraudulent and just very inaccurate, that a lot of those votes will be lost or thrown away. So then you have this voting system where most votes, or where a lot of the votes for the opposition is going to be coming in through this way, and are going to be lost or destroyed in some type of way, but their demographic will be okay with voting in person. So which means that those votes will not be lost or destroyed, or whatever. So then what we have is, because mail-in voting is something that is traditionally more of a Republican type of system to be used, it'll hurt the Republican vote, and the Democrat vote will go largely unchanged, which would lead closer to actually securing the Biden presidential win, right? So I don't know. There's multiple ways to look at it. Like, initially, I really thought that they were, especially when they picked Kamala as the VP, I really thought that they were just throwing the race away. But now, with how hard they're pushing mail-in voting, and with the the history that it has of losing votes and of just being inaccurate, I feel like they're what they're actually doing is they're turning up the dial on the dirty shit that they've done in the past, but they're turning it up so high that it looks like self sabotage. But what it's really doing is it's just that they're just cheating. It's like, I think they're cheating. I think they're setting themselves up to where no matter what they do, they'll they'll have a lead. So, and I don't know if Trump voters are paying enough attention to that, because it does look like self-sabotage at a glance. Okay? So what the Trump voters need to do is that they actually need to, and it's funny because like the Trump base has always had more enthusiasm than the Biden base, but because it kind of seems like the Democrats are turning up that cheating dial like all the way up to 11, to the point where it looks like self-sabotage, but it's really just cheating. Trump voters need to, like, however many people they think need to be out voting, it needs to be like 2-3 times as many, right? So it's like, because what Trump voters need to realize is that I think the Democrats really are turning up the dial in like their cheating all the way up, all the way up. So it's going to be very, very easy if the election is fair, and if it's actually fair, or if it's within the margin of error of what previous elections have been. I think Biden will win. If 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 it's fair, and if the turnout is average, comparing it to like the previous election, the elections before that, if the turnout for Republicans is about the same, within the same margin of error, I think Republicans lose it, because there is so much shady business going on from the Democratic side, that I really do think they're just rigging it to the point where most people think that they're just throwing the race, but what they're just doing is that they're turning up the cheating so high that people can't. It's like playing a game of like, I don't know, freaking Mafia or Among Us or something like that, where it's like you're the imposter and you just say, "Oh yeah, I'm the imposter." It's like you won't be. It's like at that level of play, it seems like self-sabotage until the voting comes around and somebody else gets voted. You know what I mean? So yeah, so I really do think that Democrats are they're pulling out all the tricks, all the little favors that they can pull, all the debt that people owe them and stuff like that. They're calling in all the favors, they're doing all that mafioso shit, and I think they're actually trying to win this. So Trump voters need to step up. If you guys really want to win, you need to step up like hard body. It's like, however many people you think are going to vote, you need to make sure that they are going to vote, and then you need to make sure that they are also spreading to other people to get them to vote, because like the way that it looks right now, it looks like Biden's gonna win, to be honest. So, and it's not because Trump is a bad candidate, but it's because the Democrats are turning up that cheating dial all the way up to 11, to the point where they're pretty much just telling people that they're cheating, but nobody wants to believe it, because nobody will believe that they will be so stupid to admit that they're cheating. So yeah, so that's what I think. I think the Democrats are trying to go so far up with the cheating They're trying to go super far left, and I think it's a tactic, because the further left they go, the less anybody will care about them cheating, because the far left doesn't care if you cheat. They just care about winning at the end of the day. So Trump voters need to show up, and we need to keep an eye. We need to keep an eye open at what is happening with the people on the left. What, like the moderate people, the people that are more leaning towards the center on the left, see what they're doing, right? Because we know what the far left is trying to do. They're right in line with the Democrats. But we got to look at what the moderate left is doing, and we got to make sure that the moderate left are paying attention and are seeing what the Democrats and the far left are up to. That's all from me, man. Thanks for watching.